please, Lucia, you read this book fucking twice now. Technically. Years in between. But technically, Lucia, the memories unlock them.
I think you should leave that part in. I think you should.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to We Know What You Like. Lucia here.
Katie.
And we're here for another edition of Book Talk. Actually, we don't have a segment for this.
We don't. We should come up with a name one of these days.
Yeah, or, write some suggestions in the comments.
Lucia and I read a book together, and now we're going to talk about it.
And what book is it?
The Viscount Who Loved
Me.
Me? Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm willing my eyes to read backwards from far away.
I can't even make out what the words say from here to there.
I just see the giant Q.
That's fair. That's not part of the title, though.
No. Julia Quinn, shout out. If you ever watch this, just know that I accept free books. I accept them.
All right. So,
yeah, we're here to talk about the Viscount Who Loved Me. And just from the get-go, did you enjoy this book?
I did. I liked it more than the first one.
Same.
I think it was I think my biggest issue with the first one was how dumb Simon's reason was for being a douchebag. And this one felt like it had a little bit more of a substantial...
Like, he definitely had some issues.
He did.
But they made sense to me. As much as Anthony says that his reasonings don't make sense, they made sense to me because I believe that as humans we can have this reasoning without a fault. Like you know what's gonna happen.
Right.
And for those who haven't read the book but just want to get a brief synopsis of kind of what's it about, we're talking about that Anthony doesn't want to get married, or he believes he will be dying young because his father, who a man he held in such a high esteem, also died young. And he 100% believes this to his core.
Yeah. And
that might sound odd, but he believes it without a doubt. Because this man, like I said, his father was the ultimate of men. Anthony doesn't think he'll live past his age. He doesn't think he'll live up to...
never surpass him in any way.
Yeah, so it's odd, but also I get it because sometimes your mind tells you that is the case.
My only note for the prologue was, wow, okay, I cried, so we're doing great.
And I absolutely love the way the book opens up. It literally says, Anthony Bridgerton had always known he would die young. If you read that in a book as the very first sentence, wouldn't you be intrigued?
Yeah, and then it was a very sweet, like, warm, homey childhood feeling until the end when he died, and then I cried.
Yeah.
Like, the overall prologue was really sweet and happy, which is very different from the way the first book started, which was dark and sad.
Yeah, the mom.
Yeah.
Did that happen in the beginning?
I think so.
I don't even remember anymore.
It was a lot, but this was warm and loving and happy.
It reminds me of this other book I read, actually, where from the very beginning chapter tells you that the main character will die. So that, like, those expectations are already there.
I've read a couple books like that, yeah.
And it's like, you just have to fall, like, you don't have to, but as the journey goes along, you fall in love with this character. And, like, you kind of forget in the back of your mind, like, fuck, this character is gonna die.
Right. And
it's like, so good it reminded me of. I don't know, it just did. And I absolutely loved this book as well. If you're watching this and you've seen our reaction to the season, if you've seen our book review for the first book, The Duke and I, then you know I have in fact read the series. But it's been over, what did I say, like 10 years, something like that. So rereading this book, as I was reading it, I remembered a lot of things. It's like, oh, okay, the pieces were starting to come together. But I want to give a huge shout out to Julia Quinn, because Julia Quinn was actually one of my first historical Regency romance authors that I ever read. And so whenever I like an author, I tend to devour all of their books.
Same.
So I literally read probably all of her books. I just need to reread them at some point.
Cassandra Clare, 20 books in.
I've only read some. One day I'll read the others.
We're gonna go through them all when we're done with this.
Honestly, I will. I will. I'll do
it.
it. I will. I have no problem saying I will. But again, huge shout out to Julia Quinn, and I want to bring her up because this is also your first time, the Duke and I, and then now this one reading one of her books as well, right?
Yeah. Also, reading romance novels in general. I'm very much a sci-fi fantasy with a bit of love involved.
I am very huge love. Can be other elements involved.
Yeah. I'm the other way. I like the other elements more typically, but I'm enjoying these, which surprised me. First time reading enemies to lovers. I still don't know how I feel about it.
I love enemies to lovers trope. It like that friction, that tension. You just know it's gonna snap, and you're like, ooh, they're gonna be banging against the wall next.
It's nice, but I do think I still like forbidden love a little bit more.
And no, we're not talking about age, or unless that's your thing.
No, it's just creepy.
Yeah.
So my next note here is why does everyone have daddy issues? And that's when I stopped taking notes, in case you were wondering.
Why does everyone have daddy issues in the show or series? I think it's honestly a ways to show the audience who's reading it, like, hey, that is a reflection on today's society too.
Are you telling me that every man in today's society has daddy issues?
Yeah.
I believe you.
Exactly. So it's not far-fetched. Did I just bring that excuse out of my ass? Yes. But it's not far-fetched.
It's not. I think I might grow tired of this series if it continues to be the not-so-pretty girl and the man with the daddy issues.
Yeah.
Like, I can only read that so many times.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, do I remember if that happens? No. But there is another book in the series that I do remember very, very vividly because it was my favorite of the series. The Bridgerton series so in my head so much now. It's like I've started saying season instead of series. So it's like, no, that's different, Lucia.
Right.
But it's actually Francesca's book. She has my favorite book in the series, but I'm not going to get too much into that. We're going to go back to Anthony and our leading lady, aka
Hello, Finley.
Kate.
Welcome for joining.
Oh yeah, Finboy guest star.
Back of your head. Can you at least turn around so that people can see you?
Can you say hi to the audience, Finboy?
No? Okay. Thanks.
He's shy.
I've been told that the fourth book is really good.
In my head, I'm trying to remember which one that one is.
I gotta read the third one first.
Okay.
Alright, so what's next over here?
We want to talk about Kate and Anthony and how they met and just them in general.
I think I really enjoyed when she was reading Lady Whistledown at the beginning, where she was like, "Oh, this man is despicable, and you're not allowed to even think about courting him." Yada yada. Made me giggle.
There was a lot of funny moments in this book.
It was.
And I really appreciate that Kate and Anthony are so different from Simon and Daphne.
All
and
very different.
I like Simon and Daphne. You can tell that from when we were talking about the book, when we were watching the show. I like them. But I felt more of a connection to both Kate and Anthony because I feel like their flaws were much more reflective in who I am as a person versus, Daphne and Simon.
Do you also have daddy issues?
Yeah. Have you met my father? You have.
I have. No, I definitely, and I also like, Kate is a more similar human to what I am like.
Yeah.
So it's always easier to connect with a character when they reflect who you are as a person.
Yeah. She's how I was telling Katie earlier, I was like, how I felt that they had Eloise be in the show, I feel took a lot of components of Kate in the book. Mm-hmm. The trying to do different, doesn't matter what you say, I'm going to go outside the norm, I'm going to be the person I am and screw whoever else factors in the matter. Mm-hmm. not that she's rude or mean, because she's still very much family oriented. She loves her sister very much.
It's true. Her whole goal is to make her sister happy.
Yeah.
Which I get.
I have siblings. My goal isn't to make them happy, though. They've grown. Well, one of them's young, but they've grown.
I love my brothers. I'd murder for Maya. That's bottom line.
That's fair. I'd probably murder for my sister. My older sister.
Your older sister?
Yeah, I'm very close to my older sister. Sorry, other siblings. But, yeah, I very much enjoyed Kate and their bickering and Anthony and their bickering.
Yeah.
And that goes once again to the enemies to lovers trope. And you said you didn't know how to feel about it. It's your first time reading it. Trust me when I say it can get a lot steamier depending on the author.
Yeah.
Like,
I think there's definitely like a part of me the whole time reading this book where it's just like, stop pretending you hate each other, and just became frustrated with them.
Yeah. My favorite aspect of it all is them not willing to admit to themselves, which is what you're saying, how they feel about each other. It's like, just which one?
Just push their faces together.
Which is what, Anthony did when they were in the office. He, literally went up to her, not literally went up to her, but there was tensions arising to that moment, and he cornered her, for a lack of a better term, and he was essentially seducing her, even though he didn't want to, but there was something driving him to do this, and that's what you call sexual attraction.
Which doesn't necessarily mean love.
No, it doesn't. But they did grow to love each other, I think, fairly early, because there were so many things that they liked in each other, but they were so stubborn and didn't want to admit.
Yeah.
And because, Anthony, he was like, I need to have these list of things to make my wife be the person she is.
Arguably, he still got almost everything on his list.
Yeah.
It was only 3 things. He got 2 of them.
So, look, Anthony.
You won out.
I'm no offense to Edwina, but Kate. Watch, you know how the entire season 1 we're like, Penelope, we love her. I would be like, Kate, yeah.
I'm still a Penelope stan. That's not going away.
Same.
Which their friendship, love that.
Yeah.
It's very cute.
Penelope and Kate's, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I saw the little figure in the glass, and I don't know why I thought that was an actual cat.
No, it's just a statue. It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
My grandma used to sell those things in a store.
Oh.
That's why I have it.
I never noticed that was there.
How many times have you sat on my floor?
I'm so sorry. Kate and Penelope. I loved that.
It was very cute.
And shout out to Anthony for just sticking up for Penelope against Neck, aka what was her name? Cressida. Neck.
I hope she marries a very sad man.
Yeah. But what if they have children and the children have to see them in a sad marriage? And that goes into another...
Listen, we're not here to talk about generational trauma, okay? That's another episode.
Tell that to Simon.
It's another episode.
Tell that to Anthony.
He doesn't have generational trauma. He's got daddy issues. He had too good of a dad.
He was pretty good. The way they was describing him, he was like this tall figure of a man, shoulders wide. I was like, ooh, they gonna show
time
him
for his kids.
Who does that? Oh, not in this day and age.
Yikes.
Love you, Dad.
What else is on here?
You trying to read my notes is funny.
I am.
And I'm sorry,
I only had 2 notes, and it was wow, I cried and daddy issues. So.
Well, we can talk about their actual drama. We already talked about, Simon. Why do I keep wanting to say Simon?
It's not Simon.
It's not Simon. Anthony and the whole, he thinks he's going to die young. He thinks he won't reach 39 years old. But also, Kate, she had some fucking trauma.
That was intense. Wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
Her fear of thunderstorms, I kind of get. I personally love thunderstorms, but I can see how they can be horrifying.
Yeah. They're very loud.
Yeah.
Kind of like how people are afraid of trains, like the sound of it.
Yeah.
Kind of similar
It can be really overwhelming. And I remember thinking, like, when she finally clicked together that her issues with thunderstorms was related to her mother, my brain immediately went, oh, her mom didn't actually die. Her mom walked out during a thunderstorm. And that my brain just accepted that as the narrative.
As to, like, why the dad needed to remarry.
Yeah, like, he needed to remarry so fast, and why Kate would be so upset about a thunderstorm because it was the moment when her mother left.
Yeah.
But then to learn what it actually was?
Yeah.
Really threw me. That was a lot.
It's very intense.
She was, what, like 2?
Very young, yeah.
And, like, watched her mother die before her eyes in a horrifying manner. It wasn't like a calm death. And then repressed it so hard that she had no idea why she was so scared all the time.
Yeah, that was some shit. I remember when I was rereading that scene, and I was like, fuck. I kind of got a little teary-eyed, I'm not even going to lie, because I was just thinking about my own mom, and she lives back in Texas, and your mom still lives back to where you from.
Where is that, Lucia?
I know where it is, but I don't know if you want to say that on camera, because you've never said it on camera. New York, okay? New York. But it made me miss my mom. And like the last time I physically saw my mom was back in February. But it made me think, like, shit, what would happen, like, how would I feel if I had a parent die? Like, once again, we briefly talked about the way Anthony felt about his dad, but we also didn't mention the fact that he literally was in the office bedroom, I don't remember where exactly the body was, but with his dad for hours and
just
hours.
Holding his hand.
Yeah, and like staring at him, and that's when he got that conviction. And so, like, that's some shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and maybe that's another reason why I like this book better than the first one. And again, not to shit on the first one, because I enjoyed the first one.
So good.
But there's just so much more turmoil in this one, and much more, like, deeper reasonings, better than, oh, my dad thought I was a shit person because I had a stutter.
Get in line, buddy. Everybody else has got that problem.
Well, with that being said, do you have anything else you wish to talk about this book? There's literally so much. Do you have a favorite scene?
I think it's Pall Mall.
Oh, well, imagine if we did this review without talking about the Pall Mall.
It's such an iconic scene.
Yeah, like, that's, I believe, Anthony, later on, he says, that's when he knew he fell in love with her,
right.
Kate. And I'm like, I get it. She's like, fuck you, you're my countess, I'm still gonna win this shit. Right. I'm gonna cheat, I'm gonna fit right in. I loved it. It's like,
I loved it, and I loved the, like, sibling rivalry vibes.
Yeah.
Because, like, me and my 2 younger brothers were really, really close in age, so, like, we did things like that all the time when we were little.
Yeah,
like, we were Pokemon kids. I used to cheat so hard at that game before they knew how to read. Like, I'd tell them that the cards did things they didn't do, so I'd win. But, like, we do things like that all the time, playing all kinds of games, and it was really fun.
Makes you miss your family, right?
It does, yeah.
Here we are, 2 people not from California. Once again, California's a big state.
But yeah, it was, like, fun to read, and
I don't know, like, it made me miss them, my family. Like, as much as the first book talked about family-oriented members, I felt like it was until this book that they really started to develop that.
Yeah, you really have to see their sibling relationships.
Shout out to Colin.
Still a favorite.
He's all like, kind of like pushing Anthony and Kate together.
I like how seemingly everyone around them knew that they liked each other
Edwina
before
knew.
They did.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They refused to admit it. They were being stubborn.
So, like, everyone else is just, like, unsurprised by the outcome of things.
Mm-hmm. And there was also another thing that stood out to me. The sex talk between Mary, I think that's her name, the mom, the stepmom, and Kate. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but I remember that Mary is a lot more forthcoming in the knowledge.
Still not super informative, but a lot better
than Violet. And I was like, you know what? You learn it. And parents, you learn it. And I also wanted to talk about how, I didn't even say one of my favorite scenes, like funny scenes. So my favorite scene overall, because of the emotions involved and everything, is the thunder scene. But if I'm speaking just strictly funny, it's either a toss-up between the bee sting trying to get the venom out in the garden. Like, you know, you ever like watch something or read something and you're just like, your mouth just like, and it just scrunches up and you have to put it away because it's like that second hand embarrassment. You're like, I can't.
Yeah.
That's
I read
how it
that
felt.
scene at work.
Listen, one time I brought a romance novel to math class in high school, and my friend decided to start reading it out loud, and my teacher didn't care, and she was like, she touched him and this and that, or whatever the words were. And since then, you know what? I don't care if people know I read romance novels.
It's fine. I love that.
But I loved that scene. It's like, because on one hand, you had them bonding and getting closer, and you're like, oh, just say you like each other already.
Right.
And then you have this frantic energy about Anthony. It's like, he's being
you
like...
see a really different side of him there.
Yeah.
Like, he's very...
He realizes then that he could lose her.
Yeah, he really thinks she's gonna die.
And he doesn't realize. He's like, well, wait, what do you mean? She could die. I'm supposed to die first.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for the interruption. I just wanted to give a quick warning, and that for the next 6 minutes and 50 seconds, I unfortunately couldn't edit out the noise in the background. It is very loud. It's noise from the stove that's from cooking, and I unfortunately, like I said, couldn't edit it out. So if you would like to lower your volume, you're more than welcome to. If you like to skip this part, you're also more than welcome to. But just so you know, Katie and I discussed some very important points of the book at this section, but I've also put in some closed captioning, so you can also, like I said, lower the volume and just read it. And if you're hard of hearing, I am so sorry. I apologize. Next time I will try to have this video edited in a better manner. But I just, like I said, wanted to give a fair warning to everyone about the noise and, you know, what's going on with this next almost 7 minutes. But thank you all so much for watching this. Thank you so much for liking our reactions to season 1 of the show. And until next time, Lucia. And continue on with the show. Review. I'm not supposed to fall in love with my wife. That's why he has those rules. And that's another thing. If you think about it, Anthony not wanting love to be in his marriage is then trying to save his wife and future kids, you know, so that way they don't feel heartbroken. Yeah. And it's odd, but also like touched
a little bit.
But then later on, I remember, I'm jumping all over the place, but later on, I think it was Kate that tells him why, I'm paraphrasing this, but Kate tells him, why think about all the bad things that might happen and be the here and the now and be with all of the good memories that you can have.
Right.
We never know what's going to happen. Right. And that's one of the most underlying themes in this book in particular. It's that seize the day. Yeah. You don't know what the hell tomorrow will bring. I could die going home, fucking knock on wood. But it could happen. You never know. Right. So live your life. Do not be afraid of what's to come. And I remember when Kate said basically that she was going to try and stand her ground in like the next thunderstorm. She was going to try and beat it. And like Simon Anthony was like, he felt, I believe, if I'm remembering this correctly, felt a little jealous.
He was, because she was able to face her demons and he felt he could never face his.
Yeah. See, we do have stuff to talk about. Look at us. Yeah. But, so all in all, the garden bee sting scene, and then when they get caught, and then everyone's like, what are you doing? And then Violet is the one that understood because, you know, Violet's husband died.
He says what he's doing, and it immediately clicks in her brain.
And of course, because of society standards, also, if you hear this noise, you can't smell it, but just know it smells good. Of course, big ass shout out to Newton.
Hot take, they wouldn't be together without Newton.
Big shout out, dogs. Go 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 dogs.
See, here's the thing, right? If they had never gone on a walk with Newton, they would have never ended up in the river.
Yep.
And Kate would have never been embarrassed to see him at the concert.
Yep.
And she would have never hidden under his desk.
Yep.
He would have never found her.
When he was trying to
never kiss
that first time. And you know, basically, like I said, Newton, the unsung hero.
He truly is. Truly.
And then I think there's just one more thing that I want to talk about that I can think of, unless something else comes up, and that is Kate's body portrayal of who she thinks like herself. So if that makes sense, like, 'cause she's very, I love Kate. I said this before. Why did I say I love Kate? But like how she is as a person, I can see myself in some aspects.
Portrayed as an incredibly strong and confident person.
Yeah. And then you don't get into later on that when Anthony and she start developing feelings for each other, that her insecurities about her own self start emerging, about like her physical attributes. And that's another thing that I really relate to. And it's like, I've got body issues. I've got like ugh. And so, like, there's a part when Anthony and she were
doing the D,
and Anthony calls her beautiful, and she literally stops and, like, I believe it said she shudders or something like that, or she stiffens or something to that effect. And she asks him, "Who are you thinking that? Because you called me beautiful."
She spent her whole life being compared to Edwina, and where Edwina was beautiful and she was just there. And that's where it started to come out, that she actually didn't think herself beautiful.
Yeah.
She had spent so much time and energy thinking the opposite.
Yep. So I just wanted to bring that out because, yes, it doesn't matter how many times someone will tell you you're beautiful, you also have to realize that. And I think through the course of this book, she does learn that as well.
Yeah. I think by the end of it, she believes him when he says it.
Yeah. There was also the fact that he put her hand on his dick, and he was like, "Feel mine."
I think one of my favorite moments was at the end when Edwina voices that she found someone she actually really liked.
Yeah, I forgot what his name was.
But the relief she feels in not having to provide for her sister and mother anymore because Kate was already doing it.
Yep.
It was just a really sweet moment.
Yep.
Where you see all that, like, stress fly away from her.
And then Kate, and after that conversation they two had, Kate's like, she was realizing that her sister wasn't just this happy-go-lucky person,
right,
that she also had worries that she was trying to fulfill, her sister, I mean.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I didn't mean to make you feel like you had to do so much on your shoulders.
Right.
And so big shout out to Edwina. So at that point, up until then, kind of felt like their character, and then towards the end became more complicated.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that. Also, the mom, Mary, I love that she would go to her mom's funeral, Kate's mom's, not funeral, but headstone.
Oh yeah, that was so cute.
And they would talk.
They'd go and like talk to her and like tell how she was doing. It was so cute.
I loved it. I was like, aw. I love that. It made me happy. Do you have anything else to say about the book?
I think so. I think that covers all of it.
I really love the special epilogue.
Yeah, the second game of Pall Mall.
For years later, and they're bickering still.
Play every year.
It's so cute. But with that being said, I kind of wanted to talk about what we think might happen with season 2 of Bridgerton a little bit.
Right.
If you're cool with that.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I think that the way Sienna, is that what they call her in the show?
Yeah.
Broke Anthony's heart at the end of the first season will play a larger role. Well, I mean, it doesn't play a role at all in the book, but it'll add into his sudden desire to become married, as well as his desire to not love the person he marries.
Yeah.
I think it'll have a large effect on him, on top of knowing his dad died so young and not wanting to put his future family through the pain that his own mother went through.
Yeah. Also, there's the aspect that I believe, because I know they already started filming, and this is kind of talking directly towards some of the commenters, how they wonder how season 2 will be without, like, what's the actor's name who played Simon? The guy who plays Simon won't be there. How do we feel it's going to happen? We said this in the reaction. The book series and the season series, obviously they're different, you know, but they still follow a pattern of the seasons having a main character of one of the siblings. So Benedict will be eventually, but Anthony is next. And so when they said that he won't be in the show, I was like, oh, fine.
Especially after reading this, because sure, they're mentioned from time to time throughout the whole series, but you only actually see them in one chapter in the actual book, and then not again until the second bonus epilogue.
Yeah.
So he plays a non-important role. Anthony plays a non-important role.
Oh, what's wrong with my head? Simon!
Like, even if they played, I'm assuming they're going to do the scene that Simon is a part of in the book, and he's not in it in the show, it would not be weird either.
They'll probably say that he had business to do on the estate or something.
He is in charge of a lot of things. And it wasn't uncommon in that time period for the men of the household to be gone for long periods of time.
Yeah. So, like, I'm not worried about it in terms of Simon not being there. Or even if, oh my god, what is her name? Daphne. I was going to call her the actress's real name. I was going to say Phoebe. I was like, no, that's not the character's name. That's her name. Even if Daphne isn't there either, because I know, thanks to some of the commenters, I know that she's also busy filming something else. Like, I'm not worried.
Right.
You don't have to show something in order for something to have a grand effect.
Right. And, like, sure, their story was really nice, but I'm not the kind of person who enjoys things that linger on stories that are already done.
Yeah.
And we've had a conclusion to their story, and now I'm excited to see the other stories that were beginning to start.
Yeah, like, I'm excited to see how the other characters will be portrayed, because at the end of season 1, it's like, oh shit, Eloise figure out who Whistledown is, and obviously that's not the case in the book.
Right.
But
Does
I'm curious.
She actually know who it is, or do we just know who it is? Now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, I think that was her putting the pieces together, right? Right? Do I need to rewatch that again?
Maybe. I feel like I had always viewed it as they're showing us who it is, but Eloise hasn't quite clicked it together.
Well, what about all those, like, flashbacks?
Maybe, I don't know.
Because all those flashbacks related directly to her memories of those conversations, right? She was present for every flashback, which would make me assume she was putting it together.
Yeah.
I guess it's fair. But yeah, so like...
I was like, Casey, you were here when you were watching
it. I'm interested to see, like, how knowing who Whistledown is continues to go forth. I think Eloise is going to play a larger role in this series than she does in the book.
Yeah.
Because the way it was set up in the first season was that she was next to come out the following year, which isn't the case in the book. She hasn't come out in the book yet.
Yeah.
So I think that'll play a big role.
When you said that earlier, I thought you meant that she was going to come out as a lesbian.
Out of the closet, you know?
I thought that's
you know
what you
That'd
meant.
be pretty on brand. I wouldn't be surprised if you told me that.
Yeah. I'm
interested to see more about the Featheringtons and the effect of their... Oh, who's going to get their estate?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
This... Man, are there any particular scenes that you really, 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 really want to happen from the book to the show?
I definitely think the thunder scene in the library,
yes,
is an important one.
Yes, I agree. That's like probably number one.
Yeah. And then the flashback of Mary telling Kate what actually happened when her mother died.
Very important to her character. And to the person who said, how will we feel like once we know what the bee did? Like, listen.
Oh man, I can't wait until Sam finds out.
Like, literally, I still have the message. You're like,
just put it up there.
so you said something on the lines of, how do you think Sam will feel?
About
Or something.
the bee.
Like, yeah, because if you've seen our reactions to the show, you know Sam loves that damn bee. Literally, the way I edited the last episode reaction was Sam looking at the bee, and then at the beginning of the episode,
Yeah.
and then Sam looking at the bee at the end of the episode. The bee!
I love that.
And so I got reminded that about the bee and what happens with the bee months ago, because someone told me in the comments, which I didn't mind because I already read the book, so it wasn't like a spoiler.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to tell you all because you hadn't read it at the time and the show hadn't said anything. And so that also made me think about what the bee represents in the show.
That's true.
And I told you, I was like, you know what I think the bee represents? I think it represents the father. Traveling around. It was at the beginning at the door. It's like someone coming home for the first time. It was by the window as a father, maybe, grandfather at that point, or great grandfather, whatever, looking in on his family. And so I think the bee represents the dad. And I told Sam, if you're watching this, I was like, do not watch this. You're gonna get spoiled. She probably won't watch it. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But that's what I think the bee represents. And I'm looking forward to both Sam and Katie figuring out what the bee did. They're going to be like, the murderer! But I'm excited. Are you excited for season 2?
I am excited.
I saw some photos from some filming of season 2, and it looked like Anthony's ugly-ass sideboard
Got deleted.
That's what I said. I was like, deleted? Why did I say deleted?
They got a nice trim.
Yeah, and I was like, so I'm excited. A lot of this show is bringing actors and actresses I've never seen in things before.
Yeah.
So I don't have, besides obviously season 1, I don't have a lot of basis on their performance-wise, except for the girl who plays Kate. I've seen her in Sex Education, but I'm excited to see more.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember a lot of actors unless they've been in Harry Potter.
Especially if they're British.
Yeah. Like, if you put an actor in front of me, I'll be like, I don't really know who that is. But if they've been in a Harry Potter, I'll know exactly who they are based off of what character they played in Harry Potter.
That's fair. But do you have anything else to add?
I think that's it.
But yeah, I think that's it for me as well. Once again, if you were annoyed by all that noise, just know
We're gonna eat a really good dinner.
It was really good. It smells good. I haven't eaten it.
It's fine.
I don't know if I have a bowl.
That's probably enough. Thanks for watching.
Yep.
I'm doing this all the time now because of the band we've been working with at work. Because that's what they do every time they take pictures. It's fine.
Is this our image that we're taking?
Alright,
But thank you all so much. Once again, if you have any suggestions on what we should call our book talks,
right? Or book suggestions to read.
yeah, we're gonna read what next after this series?
All of Cassandra Clare's bibliography.
20.
I think it's like 18 right now, but there's another one. The 2 come out a year. It's fine.
It's fine. I read fast.
Okay.
It's all good. There's only 8 of these. It's fine.
Yeah, I gotta go buy them.
So do I.
I should just bite the bullet and buy them all. I should just.
So that way you don't have to keep going back.
Yeah. But I want the pretty covers.
I want it now.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.